Hello, friends. Happy Friday. So good to see you all tonight. I hope your weekend is off to a fantastic start. Mine sure is. And it's so good to see so many folks already assembled here for fun and entertainment and such this evening. I am smoking some Haunted Bookshop in the Matches Memorial Friday Savinelli, as is the tradition here on Friday nights. And let's see who we've got lined up already in the chat room. We got Big Dave, Patrick Grant, Burley Nut Bob, Smoking Sage, John Amadon, WKR Piper in Cincinnati. He was first, you know. Lunch Money Philip. Hello from Werewolf, Pennsylvania. Well, good to see you, Philip. Werewolf, Pennsylvania. I should probably know where that is if it is a thing. Patrick Grant, I think I said hello to you, but yeah, I'll say hello to you twice, Patrick. Constant commentee. Cold enough for me? It's not as cold as it could be in February, Michael, but I'm happy. I'm happy for sure. I'm supposed to get a little bit of snow this evening, up to 1/10 of an inch, so I can live with that. There's Lord Hogarth. Good to see you, buddy. Ron Hardcrackers, hello. Piper on the 45, Bearwolf and Miss Kathy. How are you guys doing tonight? Good to see you both. And I think we are all caught up. You have to pay extra for the entertainment. Yeah, Odie, it's not included with the price of admission. It's that's why you very rarely get it. Oh boy. So it's been a day. I've been out of it today. I don't know. I've been having some issues. Don't want to get too deep into this, but I've got low blood pressure, which is weird. You know, I've had high blood pressure in the past, but now I have low blood pressure, and when I get that problem, it's just lousy because it just feels like I'm gonna just fall asleep at any minute. I get headaches and stuff, and it's been bothering me for a couple days, but we'll get it up there again. Apparently the secret is hydration and salt. Very weird because it's exactly the sort of thing they tell you to hydrate, but they tell you not to use salt. So I've been dealing with that. So if I seem a little, it's fine. And because of that, I decided to forego a beer tonight and just, drink the healthy, Tullamore. I'm joking. I'm feeling actually much better this evening, but it has been a problem all week and all day today. Big Dave says it's mid-70s and sunny in Tucson. Oh, very nice, Big Dave. Josh Langevin, hello there. Backcountry Pipes has got some Haunted Bookshop. It's moving too fast for me. Some Haunted Bookshop in his Matches pipe as well. Fantastic. And let's see. Hillbilly Piper, how's it going, Donnie? We're getting caught up. Paul Johnson, hello. A 20-year-old dark twist that he got at the Vegas Pipe Show. Oh, that he forgot about. Oh, that sounds good. Chris, I could use some extra blood pressure. Yeah. I know it's odd. I'm just a weird guy. I always have the opposite problem to most people. Jeffrey Feinberg, good to see you, Jeffrey. Yeah, Christian, that's exactly the kind of thing that happens, especially if I stand up too fast. Yeah. Yeah, it's a pain. And I've had every test under the sun, so it's, if there's something wrong with me other than blood pressure, it's something unknown to medical science because I've been scanned from head to toe, poked and prodded, and the only thing that they can find is that my blood pressure is a bit low. But I don't want to dwell on that. It's not. There are worse problems to have. Patrick has got some low country natural Virginia and Burley and a Friday Savinelli. Good stuff. I had some of that this morning myself. Couch is now addicted to Bosun Cut plug. Well, that'll happen, Couch. Not a bad thing to be addicted to. Snowed all day in northern Vermont. High teens for the temperatures. Well, Josh, I'm glad I'm not in northern Vermont right now. But I guess somebody has to be, so good on you. Had the same issues all your life, huh, Christian? Yeah. It's a pain. It's funny. I used to have problems like this back when I was in high school, and I don't know what caused it then. And I used to just think it was panic attacks. I could go on about this for hours, but yeah, maybe it has been a lifelong thing. And again, it's minor. I don't mean to complain about it. It's annoying, but it's not like I'm facing some life-threatening illness or something. So much worse problems to have. Phil, that is a great recommendation. I was going to just increase my salt intake and see if that worked, but maybe a tourniquet around the neck would help. Yes, thank you, Phil. I love you too. Barrel from Miss Kathy, you've got Big and Burly and a Mouton. Nice. Dry Fly Fisher 11, how you doing this evening? Smoking Sade says it's 3 a.m. and the temperature is 78 degrees Fahrenheit. My goodness. That is toasty. The Smooth Piper. Good evening to you, sir, and happy Friday. Upper 30s in New York City. That's about what it is here now. We got up to about 40 today. So we'll see how the day does progress, how things progress, because apparently there's going to be a little bit of snow tonight. Piper said, John Cotton double pressed Kentucky and a Meerschaum. Nice. And Sir Zenith has got some John Cotton Latakia and a Peterson K&P spigot pipe. You may be seeing a Peterson, is that a spigot? You may be seeing a Peterson later this evening. Hillbilly Piper's got some Black Irish twist that he pressed. Cool. Yeah, Christian, can't you like send her out of the house for a while to do the hockey bag inventory? Josh is saying the Drew Estates Factory Smokes Bundle is good cheap cigars. Might be worth a try. I mean, the Drew Estate stuff I find to be a little bit hit and miss, but never had a bad Drew Estate cigar, just ones that were or were not to my liking. Snowing in Cincinnati, says WKR Piper. It's snowing in Pittsburgh. My wife is there now, and she said they're going to get somewhere between 2 and 6 inches, depending on which weather forecast you listen to. You know, my wife abandoned me, and she left on Wednesday. So she had to go help her parents with something. They had a medical appointment that she had to take them to. It was planned and all that, but she left me on Valentine's Day. And you know, that means it was horrible, guys. I mean, I had Valentine's Day. I didn't have to buy anybody flowers or candy. I didn't have to go out to dinner, and I got to watch whatever I wanted to watch on TV that night and eat whatever I wanted to. It was just terrible. I'm telling you. I hope she doesn't do that again next year. Doug Owen, good evening, Doug. Josh says the Drew Estate bundles can be such that they're under $2 a cigar. Nice. Where are you getting them from, Josh? Which are you ordering them online, or are you getting them at a B&M? B&M. Lunch Money Phillips looking for a first cigar recommendation. I always recommend the Leaf Sumatra. It's one of my favorites. It's sort of middle of the road in terms of price, but really nice flavor profile. Not too strong, but it's got some oomph to it, and I think it goes well for a pipe smoker's palate, I think. But I'm sure other folks would have recommendations as well. Mushroom Leg, hello. Blue Valentine is a great Tom Waits album. Ray, how did I know you'd be a Tom Waits fan? John Amadon. Michael Case hasn't had a VA in 38 years. Valentine's Day. Well, Michael, you're a lucky man in a lot of ways. Yes, it is fantastic, Odie. Grand indeed, Michael. Okay, pipes and cigars. We'll have to look into that, Josh. I appreciate the tip. Christian. You knew I wasn't going to repeat that one. Hubba bubba poem. Good to see you, buddy. Romeo y Julieta is another good suggestion, Josh. Yes. And Josh also suggested Factory Smoke Cigar. Well, it was Ash Wednesday, Flint Hill. They were the same day. Which meant we Catholics were awfully conflicted. Yes, Piper said, my buddy Everett informed me that he was able to order 8 ounces of Haunted Bookshop. Apparently they made more. And 20% off pipes and cigars. Yeah, there's all the International Pipe Smoking Day sales are rolling out right now. Other than the whole blood pressure thing that I was whining about earlier, I had a rough day today. I actually had to, it's going to sound strange, but I had to essentially promote someone. Not an actual promotion, but move them up the organizational chart, which was a good thing, and it was a recognition of all the good work they've done. But it's someone that has worked for me for over 10 years, and we've got a really good working relationship and everything. And they will now be working for someone else. So it was a tough day just because I'm going to miss that relationship we've developed, and they were upset about it. Which was very flattering to me that they didn't just go, woohoo, I'm free of you. Poems bought some Aroma de Cuba, good cigars. Yes, John's birthday was this past week. Indeed, Backcountry Pipes. We miss him. We certainly miss him. Big Country Briar, how's it going, Cole? Bearwolf and Miss Kathy are recommending Dark Shark cigars. They say they're great value and great and a good value. So give those a look as well. Flint Hill and John share a birthday. That's pretty cool. Barclay Rex is doing the IPSD thing again tomorrow. Fantastic, Patrick. Look forward to the video. Yeah, most of the time, Jim, I hate the corporate politics stuff, but this was actually a good thing. It was an organizational need that this person will be really good at filling. They're the right person for the role. It's a good opportunity for them. It just change is always hard, and especially when it sort of breaks a relationship, a working relationship. Granted, I mean it's not like you're separating dear friends or anything, but you get used to people that you work with. So. Kevin Doolin says he thinks Haunted Bookshop is one of the few tobaccos that is still good when bone dry. No need to rehydrate. Honestly, Kevin, I don't know if you can dry the stuff out. I've never Now, granted, I smoke it pretty frequently, but I just keep it in these things. I keep it in, when I get it in bags and I just stick it in the bag on a shelf. And I've never had it dry out. But you're right, I've never felt the need to rehydrate it. Yeah, Phil, it takes a while to get the Catholic rhythm down. Oh, I wish I could, Patrick, but with the wife being away, I'd have to kennel the dogs and stuff. So unfortunately, it's not going to work out. But I wish I could do that. WKR Piper, I just saw that. I don't know if I saw an ad for it, if I saw it on one of the sites, but yes, Rustica Ready Rubbed is now available, which I was surprised to see that. But and it is less expensive than the tin, and you can get it anytime. So all you Rustica fans, uh, go give it a shot. I'd be curious to hear from anyone how it compares to the tin. Well, Phil, actually, the Catholic Bible was the original Bible, and all the Protestant Bibles have less books. It's a slightly different way of looking at it there, buddy. That's right, Chris. We want Phil to stand out in the crowd. Oh boy. Pipe smoking commercials on TV, that would be something. That would be something indeed. But I've been watching so many old movies lately. To me, it seemed perfectly normal to see people smoking a pipe on TV. I've gotten to the point where I don't yell pipe sighting every time it happens anymore. But I've trained my wife well. The other night I was watching something and she yelled pipe sighting for me. Half full, half empty indeed, Phil. So let's see. I told you about my wife abandoning me. I do miss her. You know I miss her, but it was a nice change of pace for Valentine's Day. I told you about the work thing. Not, I think you're all caught up on my life. Ah, you're watching the Jeremy Brett Sherlock Holmes. Those are really wonderful. So I'm glad. Yes, she was celebrating Ash Wednesday in Pittsburgh, where they have legendary fish sandwiches. So she was happy. Although since we haven't been eating a lot of fried foods or bread and things like that, she quite surprisingly said to me, it really wasn't that good. So it's funny how those things that you're just used to thinking, used to enjoying, and then you change your diet and go back to them after a while, and oddly enough, they're just not enjoyable anymore. Ah, Piper said's looking into the Granada series too. Yeah, it's a wonderful series. It really is the best adaptation out there. And was it? I think it was Michael Case that put me on to Jeremy Brett starring in, was it The Rivals or Young Rivals? Play on YouTube. I haven't watched it yet, but I'm really looking forward to checking that out to see what Brett was like in other roles. Yeah, the dogs are with me, Odie. I've got the DVDs too, Michael. It was a Christmas present years ago, and one of the best ones I've gotten. Yeah, it's kind of tragic that he couldn't complete them all, Phil. I mean, his health went downhill pretty quickly towards the end there, and you could see it in some of the later episodes. You know, Dry Fly Fisher, I don't think I've ever seen that. Magritte with Rupert Davies. I'm gonna have to. I've seen the ones with what's his name? Blackadder. I can't think of his name right now. Uh, but I haven't seen the Rupert Davies ones. Yeah, Phil would be something like that. Not Phil, Cole. Sorry, Cole and Phil. Ah, Occasional Clay Piper just started rewatching them. Fantastic. Yeah, Phil, it would be hard to actually put all of them into either plays or shows or movies for that matter. I mean, some of them just don't lend themselves to that. I don't remember how many episodes they made. Maybe someone that has the set knows. I don't remember myself. I don't think I don't think the later seasons are on YouTube. At least they weren't when I first started trying to watch them all. Because I remember watching them back in I guess it was the 90s. They were on like public television here in the US. And then I started trying to watch them on YouTube later and got to see a lot of them, but then towards the end it started to tail off, and then that's when I asked my wife to get me the set of the DVDs. It was just called Rivals. Okay, Michael, thank you. Costume drama by Sheridan. Oh, Mrs. Malaprop. There you go. He did have a lot of mental health issues. Yeah, he was a complicated, complex man. And the book that Doug Owen was kind enough to send to me, called Bending the Lily. So it was a fantastic book that goes into a lot of that, a lot of details on his life. Mr. Bean, yes, Bill. Yeah, Rathbone was a whole different kettle of fish there, Clay Piper. He brought a different approach to it, and of course, a lot of those stories were non-canonical, for lack of a better term, or maybe there's not a better term to use the appropriate term. Anyway, uh, but quite enjoyable, definitely enjoyable. And Basil Rathbone, which is a fantastic actor. Rowan Atkinson, thank you, Piper said. Yes. Michael Gambon as well. I've got a lot of Magritte to catch up on. Yeah, there's a lot of them on YouTube for sure, Phil. I don't remember which ones were missing, but there are some of the later series that are missing. Uh, the other semi-annoying thing about watching them on YouTube is they're in short chunks. So if I remember right, like each episode was broken down into like 8 or 9 videos, and They don't play well. Like you can't just expect them to autoplay one after the other. So you sometimes have to go in and find them. It's not a big deal. It's still worth it to watch them. Yeah, Doug, for example, the Mazarin stone, which somebody brought up in the comments to my video on Sunday. If I remember that one right, that's the one that entirely takes place um, as Watson recounting it in the absence of Holmes. So it wouldn't really be a very interesting thing to watch, but a very interesting thing to read. Big Dave, if I remember right, Jeremy Britt had a Peterson church warden. Uh, might have had others. In one episode, he did have a gourd calabash, very briefly. Yeah, Nigel Bruce has created a lot of consternation over that role, hasn't he, Doug? But it was entertaining in its own way. Ah, I know what I wanted to mention. I was counting things earlier, trying to remember what else I wanted to talk about. I had a couple of things I wanted to sort of update you on the sort of prayer requests front. You remember right? If you remember, not right. Um, Maybe about a month ago, was asking you to pray for our buddy Ronnie's wife. She's having some health issues, and apparently she's been a bit up and down lately. So if the prayers could continue there, uh, I know it would be much appreciated. And if you don't pray, good thoughts, whatever, just keep them in mind and keep them close to your heart. The other thing is our friend Jimmy, who I've talked to you about in the past. Jimmy is YouTube lurker, I guess. He's been on. He's commented, I'm sure. And Jimmy and I have developed a friendship through email. I did some pipe work for him, and over the years got to know him well. He has been dealing with a chronic issue with really bad headaches and pain and stuff. And he did get a surgery a week or two ago where they were uh, scraping his sinuses. I don't know what else to call it, uh, in the hopes of being able to alleviate some of this. And he contacted me yesterday, I think it was. He's healing, and he said he's not yet sure how well it worked, but he's hopeful. The doctors say, hang in there, let it heal a bit, and see how it goes. So keep Jimmy in thoughts and prayer, please. Uh, and the other thing is, I lost a friend, somebody that I worked with, one of the first people that really kind of took me under his wing when I joined the company that I work for, passed away yesterday. And it was a shock to me. It's funny how these things happen. It's somebody that I knew really, really well, but then lost touch with him when he retired. So I haven't seen him in over 10 years, but think about him often. And I just happened to be having lunch with someone else that knew him, and he came up, just casual conversation. Oh yeah, do you remember him? And then I was walking back to a meeting in one of the other buildings and passed someone else that knew him in the hallway, and he said, "Hey, you remember?" And I said, "Yeah, sure." And he said, "Well, he passed away." And yeah, it just happened. He was apparently on life support, and the family decided to remove the life support. So yeah, it's been Been a tough couple of days because of that, but you know, it's the way life is. It's we're all heading in that direction, right? And hopefully to a greater reward. So occasional Clay Piper says in one episode he was using a Freiburg and Trier church warden. Quite possible. Oh, that sounds pretty cool, Beowulf and Miss Kathy. Good family show on YouTube, Owd Bob, O-W-D Bob, about a father and son that compete with sheepdogs. Presumably that means they take sheepdogs to shows and the sheepdog compete with other sheepdogs, not that the father and son are actually competing against the sheepdogs. Although that would also be a good show. Sorry, Beowulf and Miss Kathy, I confused myself with that one. Did Jeremy Brett ever do any narration during his career? Don't know, Big Dave. Don't know. And thank you, folks that are sending prayers. Much appreciated. And thank you, Odie. Michael Case, you had the same thing happen. 72. So sorry to hear that, my friend. Thank you, Peter. I know he used the term companion poem. I did not realize it had a different formal meaning, but yeah, makes sense. Thank you, Said. Rented it from Video World on VHS. There you go, Clay Piper. You're dating yourself, buddy. I remember going to the video store that was just like this little shop on the street, and you'd go in and there'd just be VHS tapes, not even in their original covers, just there would be the names on the spines. So I have no idea if this was even legitimate or if these were bootleg copies. Yeah, Phil, that's what I was imagining. Oh, sheepdogs, working sheepdogs is really fascinating stuff, John. Yeah. Yeah, they are amazing dogs. Absolutely, Sir Zenith. We never know. And it is important to keep in touch. Ah, that's interesting, Doug. So Hacker presented the church warden to Brett, and they were all Tinderbox named Brett as Pipe Smoker of the Year, and the church warden was the gift. Very cool. That's a good point, Beowulf and Miss Kathy, and I try to do the same myself. I mean, it gets hard because, you know, we know so many people and you know, it seems a little bit like you're just taking the easy route by saying, you know, I'm going to pray for everybody in the community, but there's always going to be a few people that stick out because of things they're going through and all that, but you don't know what everyone's going through, so adding that little thought in there never hurts. Thank you, Mark. Australian Shepherds, those are nice dogs, Phil. That's really cool when you see dogs doing things like that by instinct. You know, pointing is another thing that I've always been fascinated by. You know, the pointers just do it naturally, and very cool. Never taken Australian Shepherd hunting. Well, folks, time is flying. I'm already done with my haunted bookshop. We'll wait a few minutes and then you know what time it is. The reason you all tune in. Hopefully we'll be more successful this week with the tobacco of the week. He certainly did have the voice for narration, Big Dave. Yeah. And he had the ability to modulate his voice too very effectively. I mean, he could go from, moody and brooding to excited and manic in a matter of seconds. Michael Case has a 33 record of Rathbone as Holmes in pursuit of the Algiers movie soundtrack. That's cool. I think Rathbone actually did some radio work as Holmes as well. Wow, 8 sheepdogs. That's amazing, Clay Piper. Lurker Troy, how's it going, buddy? Oh, that's a great story, Phil. The dogs just figured out what they needed to do. Well, give Mom our best, Sayed. Ron Howard was the newer Holmes in the black and white series. I don't know about that poem. Not familiar with that. Groovin' Piper, how you doing, Cody? Long time no see. Fridays have been busy. I get you. Really nice of you to stop by, though. Great seeing you. White Ash Piper squared. Yes, border collies are astonishingly intelligent. Some of the like fall festivals and stuff that they'll have around here, that they'll sometimes have border collie demonstrations, and I love watching them. And those dogs will, with just slightly different whistles, will do completely different behaviors and will work. Really, really impressive to watch. Yeah, Troy, it's just an innate behavior they have, the pointing. Very cool. We did a detective series as well, Michael. That's interesting. Yes, I remember them being odd stories, Doug. I do remember that. Sheep herding parrot. That would be good, Phil. A dolphin. That's going to be less useful. Unless you've got those aquatic sheep. So Sayed's mom is watching the live stream and he just has to read the comments. Well, hello there, Mrs. Sayed. Mama Sayed. I love that when I hear that people's family are watching this. It doesn't make sense to me. But I'm so happy that people enjoy it. Yeah, the Highland Games is one of the places I first saw it, Beowulf and Miss Kathy. That was when we lived in Atlanta. They had an annual Highland Games that we would go to. Oh, Jimmy Akin's talking about animal telepathy. That must be interesting. The Briar Gecko. You can't be late here. Good to see you, buddy. Okay, Chris, thank you for the earwig. I'll be singing that all night now. Jeffrey Feinberg's asking, does anyone utilize the Briar Patch Forum? I do not. I know it exists, but I can't say I've ever actually visited it. Oh, Cole, you're not going to lose that nickname anytime soon. I'm going to write that down. Odie, make a note of that. We're going to need that in August. You got launched by a burly guy, Phil? Gary is confirming that Rathbone and Bruce did do several radio shows together. They were great because you could immediately visualize them because you were used to the voices. Uh, but the stories were unusual. They were clearly written for the radio programs. Pirate Frog 333, how you doing, Robbie? Good to see you tonight. Yeah, the new homes, there's issues there, of course. But, you know, to be honest, though, I mean, as much as I love the pipe smoking aspects of Sherlock Holmes, those, what's his name? Cumberbund, whatever his name is, those were really well-made shows. Uh, so, I wish he smoked a pipe in them, but setting that aside, they did a really fantastic job of not recreating the original Arthur Conan Doyle stories in the way that the Granada series did, but taking different aspects of those stories and melding them together. And I think it was really a well done series. Yeah, the Glenn Fittich was definitely involved in inventing that game, Doug. So the shepherds were earning their keep even during the show, huh, Ron? That is funny. Oh, Michael, that's an interesting thing to get put in your place by a German Shepherd. Yeah. Phil, that's funny. I'm just not going to try to read it out loud. Doodle Daddy Cole. Indeed. Indeed there, WKR Piper. We will not be forgetting that. Cole's going to wish he never typed that. Good time to do that, Robbie, with International Pipe Smoking Day sales going on. So hopefully you can do some stocking up. I've got some Tullamore Dew tonight, Patrick. Actually dwindling. Yes, Petri Wine. I remember that, Doug. I remember that being the sponsor. Odious, huh? All right, well, I'm making fun of the new homes for not smoking a pipe, and here I am not smoking a pipe. So it is time to choose the tobacco of the week. Woohoo. So if you remember last week, we were not very successful. We had to throw away the tobacco of the week. And just so you know, I'm down to just the last 2 jars of those samples, and we may run into that again because these were all jarred up at the same time, and I don't know if any of these are going to be any good anymore. And since we have to have 3, I added a tin to it for today. So the tin is 3 Nuns. This is 3 Nuns from 2014. Actually, August 2014, so almost 10 years. And full disclosure, I am smoking this. The tin is open, but I thought I got to throw something else into the mix, and I don't want to open up another tin until this is done. So we got 3 Nuns as number 1. Don't vote until I'm through all 3. And we know what these are because they were here last week. Number 2 is... Oh, wait a minute. That surprised me. Oh, that's right. We took one out last week because I had already smoked it. Number 2 is Savinelli Brunel Flake from 2015. So that's number 2. And number 3 is our old friend, the Mystery Tobacco Quantum from 2015. So, number 1, 3 Nuns. Number 2, Brunel Flake. Number 3, Quantum. What's it going to be? Cast your votes. Andrew Sirigliano, good to see you, buddy. Gary Emerson smoking some vanilla custard. There you go. Glad we could get a laugh going there, Cole. Homeless camps everywhere. Oh, Doug, we should make a fake commercial for that. Okay, we got 2 votes for 1. 1 vote for 2. We got a 3. We got 3 for 1. 2 for 3. 3 for 2. This is going to get hard to do. Here we got 3 3s, 3 2s, and 3 1s. Everything, we're all tied up. Okay, there's another 2. Another 1. Another 1 from Mushroom Leg. So 3 Nuns is pulling ahead. We got another 3 there, which is the Quantum. Another 2. So 3 Nuns is ahead by 1. Still ahead by 1. Quantum is now tied with 3 Nuns, and now we're all tied up with Airwolf Miss Kathy's vote. Smoking Sid is saying number 3, so that puts Quantum ahead. Doug Owen says number 1, that ties us up. 3 Nuns and Quantum. Jeffrey says Quantum, so 3 Nuns from Occasional Clay Piper. Shouldn't 3 Nuns be 3? Don't cut it out, Cole. We got 3 more for 3 Nuns. It's another one for... I think 3 Nuns has got it at this point. All right, you know, I'm going to call it here because I think 3 Nuns is ahead by 3 or 4. So we'll do that. And next week, well, actually, I'm not going to be here next week. If you didn't see the thing at the beginning, I'll explain. But, oh, Phil wants to disqualify 3 Nuns. We can't do that, Phil. Um, we're going to keep the other two. The next time we do this, which will be March 1st, we will not add a third one, and we'll just get these two done so that we can move on to more interesting things. And, you know, yes, I don't know the other two, so I can't say it's superior, but I do like Three Nuns. And yes, I've already opened it and I have been smoking it, but I've smoked a lot of Three Nuns, so, you know, such is life. I'm going with the majority here. I did not hear the joke about Three Nuns sitting on the fence, Phil, and I don't think I want to. J&D's Pipe Dreams, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you tonight. All right, so this is Three Nuns. This is the McBaron recreation of Three Nuns, which is actually, I believe, the third incarnation of the blend. And this is the one that does not have Perique, but does have Darkfire Kentucky, and you all can argue amongst yourself as to whether it ever had Perique, because that's an interesting argument to have. This, again, this is about 10 years old, but these nice kind of curly coins, they somewhat stay together, but they're all kind of stuck to one another, so it's hard to get individual coins out. But they rub out nicely, and generally it's quite an enjoyable smoke. I am going to be smoking this in this Pre-Republic Peterson. This is it just says Peterson Republic, Peterson. Now I have to look at what it says, because if it says Republic, it's not Pre-Republic, is it? It just says Peterson Dublin. And unfortunately, the markings on the briar have been worn away, so I can't tell you anything about that. This was a gift from my buddy Jim Finn of Premium Polished Pipes. And Jim, really good pipe repair guy, trained with Tim West. So if you're looking for pipe repair work, Premium Polished Pipes is a place to go. And I will go ahead and fill this up. Yes, apparently Lewis liked Three Nuns, and of course that was the original one, and we have no idea if that had Perique in it or not, but okay, Phil, I got your joke. I got the joke. Hey, Couch, no problem. Tobacco is Three Nuns from 2014. Oh, Michael, that's a joke, isn't it? Briar Gecko, I've had Doblon de Oro, and I can say that I agree with that. It is very similar to Three Nuns. It is not a lot of Kia blends. So Three Nuns, it's Virginia Burley and Dark Fired Kentucky, I believe. Does this say anything? No, as is McBaron tradition, there's no information on the tin at all. But yeah, I believe this one gets its spicy kick from the Dark Fired Kentucky, and it's well done. It's not an overload of Dark Fired. The blend that I always thought Three Nuns should be, what I imagine it was like back when Lewis smoked it, and this might just be my fantasy, but if you've ever had Cabby's Mixture, I really like Cabby's Mixture, and it's hard to get. I don't even know if they're still making it, to be honest, but that was good blend, very reminiscent of Three Nuns, but Perique. Yes, almost 6 months to the Ohio Pipe Show, August 9th and 10th. So it's earlier this year, which is different, but fine. Looking forward to it, Odie. Pirate Frog's got some Escudo going tonight. Good stuff. Brunello Flake is great, says Phil. Yes, I think the first time that one came up, you were voting for it, Phil. Advocating for it, even. Less grassy and apricot-y. Well, that sounds, the Norlic Golden Slice, that sounds good. I'm looking forward to trying that. So we're just going to stick with those two, and then eventually there will only be one. And then we'll move on to new stuff. I have enough random tins to keep us doing the tobacco of the week for the future. So. Oh, Cole, I'd love to make the comparison, buddy. That'd be great. If you want some of the, I don't know if you've had the newer stuff, but if you want some, I'd be happy to reciprocate. So, Michael, the story, and Doug will correct me because I saw he weighed in earlier and said that it did have Perique in it in the 70s. The story was that at some point it had Perique and then switched to a Perique flavoring, possibly wartime shortages of Perique or something. And then when it came back, there was dark fired instead of the Perique, and some people complained. And so there's all this back and forth and arguing about these things. But most people agree that the original had Perique. It went through a period of Perique flavoring and then became a dark fired blend. Oh, Phil, if you've got Cabby's mixture and you like vapors, you'll like it. It's good stuff. Oh, that's interesting, Doug. Okay. Dark that is interesting if that's the case. And I trust you, you wizened fellows. Ah, Peter's moving on to some HGL. Nice stuff. Next millennia in perpetuity. Let's just say for a long time. For the foreseeable future. Ah, okay, Doug. Thank you for confirming that for me, because I honestly I've never had the old stuff, but I just when I smoked that I thought to myself, this is what I thought Three Nuns was going to be. Oh, Couch, we could work out a trade if you want, buddy. Wow, Robbie, you've really gotten low there, buddy. Yes, they did make a green version, Christian. You're right. I don't think I've ever tried that. I might have a tin somewhere. I don't know, but I don't think I've ever tried it. Couch, cut that out. Tim West does do good work, Gary, and he's been doing it forever. And yeah, if you want some pipe repair work done, he's your guy. He's a darn fine pipe maker too. I saw somebody was smoking a Tim West earlier. Might have been before the show started. I saw that. And I love the Tim West that I have is from his Old West line, so it's the pre-phrase Stummels, but fantastic pipe. So the reason you probably have not seen this pipe in a while, if you've seen it at all, is that I've actually been working through all of my pipes. So the idea was I was going to keep track of them and I would not smoke one of them that I have smoked until I had gotten through every one I could find. And this is embarrassing. So I've been doing this since early January, very early January. And I'm not going to tell you the date because then you'll go and calculate how many pipes I have, and I don't want to know how many pipes I have. But it was early January. And I thought I was done. When was it? Over the weekend, I guess. Yeah, I thought I would be finishing up on Monday. Actually, that's how it worked out. So I thought I'd be smoking the last one on Monday. My wife said, "Whatever happened to that Meerschaumline pipe I bought for you?" And I thought, "Oh my goodness, she did buy me a Meerschaumline pipe." Because I don't know if you remember from the Big Boy story, that large billiard I had, I think it was last week actually. She bought that for me to replace a Meerschaumline billiard that I had stolen from me. And when I said, "Oh, this is nice, but it's not Meerschaumline," she then went on a quest for a Meerschaumline pipe, and she actually found me a little Meerschaumline Graybow, which still wasn't the right pipe, but again, it was, a gift from my wife, and I cherish it for that reason. And I thought, I don't know what happened to that. So I started looking around for it, and I have this old cigar humidor, one of the like 40 cigar boxes and I knew I had put some pipes in there, and sure enough, it was in there along with like 4 other pipes that I had to put in onto the list. So this is the last of those. I'm not counting the pipes I've got down here that I consider shop pipes. So I am considering this the last one, and tomorrow morning I will start over at the beginning. So it's been an interesting adventure. Oh, so Three Nuns Green was straight Virginia. Okay, I thought it was with Perique. But okay, Doug, that explains why it disappeared. That does sound pretty bland. Oh, okay, it was okay. Confused. I was confused too. So the yellow was the straight Virginia. Christian's saying the same now. Yeah, and the green was the vapor. Okay. There you go, Chris. It's good to start that cellar because it's tobacco's never going to be cheaper, right? I like that idea, Bear Wolf and Miss Kathy. The problem is somebody would have to count them, and I'm not going to do it, and I don't want my wife to do it. And honestly, if you want to include the pipes that are down here and in various boxes and stuff, I don't even know if I could get the number for you. Michael's getting dizzy from the freak. Captain wants to know what were the highlights of all those pipes? Like what were the best ones and is that what you mean? Doug, I'll answer your question about Peterson Deluxe system in just a minute. Uh, J&D, you got 400 tins already? My goodness. Well, it's never going to be cheap. Went through them all. There were some where I said, so the reason I did it was I noticed there were pipes I wasn't smoking. Uh, and I thought, well, I should find out why. And if I'm not going to smoke them, I should move them on. Just because I got more than I need and somebody else could enjoy it. So as I went through them all, I was finding, first off, there were pipes that I wasn't smoking that I actually quite enjoyed smoking. So that was interesting. The other thing was there were a few in there that I didn't enjoy, and I kind of think I know why. So I made some notes to myself about things I need to do to them. Maybe I need to funnel the stem or put a chamfer on the end of the tenon, things like that I will try and see if it improves it. So that was kind of the first time around. Now I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to actually keep notes of those things. So I'm going to keep notes of what I like, what I don't like, and why I don't like it, and then go back and try to fix it. And then after the third iteration, if I still don't like it, it may be finding a new home. So that was kind of the highlight. I can't say that one stood out or anything. I like them all. No, Piper said that would be a bad thing to do. Plume is mold, briar gecko, unless it's bacteria. There's no such thing as plume. It's a myth. Oh, was you, Gary, that was mentioning the Tim West pipe? Good stuff. Okay, so you got to do the advanced arguments, Andrew. Oh, Phil, that's funny. Yeah, to go back to Doug's question about what I think about the Peterson Deluxe, I could live without it. I think the system is a gimmick like everything else that departs from the usual two holes in wood and rubber. Uh, it tends to gurgle. It's something else to clean. That's, yeah, you can hear it gurgling now. Now this one, my friend Jim actually put a condenser on it, and he claimed that actually would make it smoke drier. It still gurgles for me. So yeah, I'm gonna have to. I know you're never supposed to take them apart, but when they're hot, but I just did. Do as I say, not as I do, as the kids say. I don't know, the kids. And oh God. Yeah, the sumps just get disgusting on these things. So I'm not a fan of it, Doug, to be honest, and I'm not a, excuse me for a minute while I throw this pipe cleaner away. And I grab something to wipe this condenser off so I can show you what he did. I do not know much about Peterson, if this was normal for these pipes or if this is something unique that Jim did, but it's got this metal condenser on it that in theory is supposed to make it smoke cooler. I find that it gurgles as much as I would expect a system pipe to gurgle. Oh yeah, the P-lip, Doug, I don't even want to try it. Good advice, Andrew. Good advice. You do not want to dump that. Yeah, that's not going to work. Run out of plume infection. That's funny. describe the condenser? I could show it to you, Doug. It's this metal thing on the end of the tenon here. Sort of a conical piece of what I assume is aluminum. And, actually, you can take them apart hot. Who was mentioning that? Oh, because, okay, Chris is saying you can take them. If they are a military mount, that's true. And I guess that is a military. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's why they got this gap here so that you can, yeah. Okay. So, yes, you can take this apart when it's hot. Okay, I didn't break the rules. Condenser is standard on the deluxe model, says Chris. Okay. Okay, so the metal condenser is standard. Okay. Well, it shows you what I know about Petersons. Um, so I've said this before. So I would not buy a new Peterson. I've worked on enough of them to realize that just straight from the factory, they're abysmal. I mean, I've had people send me Petersons that were unsmoked that they had bought that I had to send back to them, tell them, get in touch with them and say, I want my money back because the things that were wrong with them were they were unfixable. And plus, you shouldn't be having to fix a pipe that you just bought without smoking it. Yeah, so Peterson quality control has gone south. I'm sorry, and people have claimed that it's gotten better since Ladalsi took over. I haven't seen evidence of it, and it's going to take a while for them to rebuild trust, as far as I'm concerned. But that being said, the older Petersons, and I put this in this category, were good quality pipes. I think the system pipe is a bit of a gimmick. I think the P-lip is a bit of a gimmick, but that's what was being done at that time. It was a way to distinguish yourself, and that's okay. You can take down a Delrin 10 in hot fill. I wasn't aware of that. Oh, Doug, I don't want to get into the further distance cooling thing because I talked about that on Sunday, but with regard to church wardens, and I got some people mad at me. Okay, so Peter's got one without the condenser that he got on eBay. So that might be that it's missing, or it might be that it was made without it, Peter. Again, I just do not know the history well enough. Made of horn. That's interesting. Piper on the 45. Yeah, Captain, those phases are part of the fun, and eventually you settle down and you pick something you like, and that's what you buy. It's an 8S, Peter? Not familiar with that. I can't argue with that, Phil. They're definitely iconic, and um, they were quite common in a lot of movies. I mean, I believe, and Doug will correct me, but I believe Basil Rathbone smoked Petersons. Uh, Mark Twain smoked Petersons. So that they certainly have a history. I just think it's a shame what's become of them in terms of their quality control. ENAS Dad, how you doing, Robert? Good to see you. Absolutely, Christian. The placebo effect is stronger than some drug effects. So I should be saying something about this Three Nuns. It's good. It's a Virginia Burley with some dark fired in it. If I close my eyes and pretend, I could almost say it's Periki. It definitely has some spice to it from the dark fired. It's well balanced, so it's not a dark fired bomb. It's not because I don't like dark fired, to be honest, unless it's done just right. And this is a case where it is done just right. Um, yeah, I recommend it. I think it's good stuff. There are probably equally good tobaccos that you can get for less because I know these are pretty pricey now, the tins. But uh, as a once in a while treat, it's good stuff. I've seen those NAP buttons, Doug. I glad to hear. I've never, so that's interesting. Yeah, actually, first time I saw those, I think it might have been on the uh, David, what's his name's YouTube Pipe Club thing. I'm completely blocking it out now, but you guys hopefully know what I'm talking about. Silver Gray was being interviewed on that, and I think she talked about that bit. Interesting stuff. Armchair Piper, how's it going, Ed? Good to see you, buddy. It's made by McBarony, and asked Ed. There you go. Doug not only knows that it was Peterson, but it was a system pipe, and then the 4AB shape was the pipe in the first two Columbia movies. 68 Saw Gunner. Hello, good to see you, my friend. So this is the blend. I used to like to open a tin of this every once in a while, and I would have it as a first pipe of the morning. And this was the one that my wife would wake up every time I smoked it and ask me if I was burning toast, which became quite a joke between us because, the thinking you smell burning toast is apparently one of the signs of having a stroke. Uh, Not that there's anything funny about that, but it led to some comedy. So, I haven't had it in quite a while, and I was smoking it recently, and I asked her if she noticed anything, and she said no, it just smells like haunted bookshop, which is her response to pretty much every tobacco I smoke. Uh, but she was asking me if I would smoke it all the time, and I said no. It's good. I really enjoy it, but it's a once a day at most smoke for me, just because it's a much heavier flavor profile, and it doesn't have the complexity of something like Haunted Bookshop. I mean, as much as I like it, and as much as I think it's a more refined tobacco than Haunted Bookshop in a lot of ways, it's kind of flat. It's a pretty good Virginia with some nice spiciness from the dark fired. It's got enough burley to give it that foundation, but it's not something I'm going to want to smoke more than one bowl of a day. Doug, that is interesting because I noticed. So I think in at least one of the movies, Basil Rathbone smoked a cherrywood. Um, I could be wrong about that, but I remember paying attention then because I was fascinated by this whole thing about what was in the canon versus what was represented on the screen. And I remember noticing that the variety of pipes that Nigel Bruce was smoking seemed to be greater than the variety that Basil Rathbone was smoking. So knowing that he brought his own pipes, that is really interesting. No, Ian A.S. Dad, unfortunately, I've never had the original Three Nuns. We were talking about that earlier, and I would love to have had a chance to try it, but no. And I'm much more a fan of Perique than I am of Dark Fire, and so I think that would have definitely been the blend that resonated more with me. Although we were talking about Cabby's Mixture, which I have had and really enjoy, and Doug, who's had the older Three Nuns, said that Cabby's Mixture is much more similar to the 1970s version of Three Nuns. So at least I had that experience. Charlie Delgado, how you doing? Says he will stick with the Peterson Standard System 300s pipe, not their other shapes or series. Would have a choice between Peterson or Savinelli, he would pick Savinelli. Yeah, I mean, I've made that choice, frankly. She might be, Doug. That's true. She might be. And yes, I am a Haunted Bookshop fanboy. I admit freely to that, Michael. Yes, oh, I know, Christian. I remember you with OGS, and I have a special tin of OGS put away for when we go fishing. So he did smoke a real cherry wood in the Scarlet Claw and the Hound. Okay. Okay, so must have been one of those that I saw it in. Uh, yeah, I was surprised by that. It did look like an actual real cherry wood too, not just a cherry wood shape. But it fit in with the cannon, so I was happy to see it. I've seen that cherry wood Tucker Carlson. I wonder, is he a pipe smoker? I don't know, but it's odd that he has that really gigantic ROP in the background. A Fermoy Peterson fishtail pipe. That is interesting. So that would have that's Sayed's mother's father smoked a Fermoy Peterson fishtail. Very cool. You know, Christian, I think we're going to do more smoking and eating than fishing, but that's okay. So the cherry wood story is a complicated one, creator, and somebody else might know more about this than I do. But there definitely were cherry woods made from cherry wood. And as Ian Dad pointed out, they were actually made from the tree. So a angled section of stem, where you had a branch going off that way and one going off that way, would be used to make the stummel. And they were drilled out and fitted with a stem. That was often led to that sort of slanted bottom poker shape that we've come to think of as a cherrywood shape. And then briar pipes were made to mimic that shape. So it's both. I mean, it's a shape, but there also were, the original cherry woods were actually made from cherry trees. Doug, frankly, I'm much more worried about Tucker mysteriously shooting himself in the back 15 times when he gets home than anything's going to happen to him before he gets home. Dry fly fisher, that's a great question. Why were two too few and four too many? That would be cool, Phil. You should definitely do that. Yeah, a lot of people grow into Haunted Bookshop, indeed, Briar Gecko. And a lot of people just don't like it. And that's okay too. Yes, hardy pipes indeed, White Ash. American Spirit Perique, I believe, is a roll your own tobacco, Sir Zenith, but I don't know if any folks have experience with it. 68 Saw Gunner also acquired the taste, yeah. Is that so, Ian asked that? I didn't know that Charles Ingalls smoked a cherry wood on Little House. So Michael Landon, I just never paid attention to it. I honestly don't think I ever watched the show. It was something my sister watched. I've heard of Benson and Hedges Mellow, Virginia. I've heard of that sad. Never had it, but Clay Piper, I have not noticed a change in Haunted Bookshop, but when you smoke it every day, it could change subtly and wouldn't notice. Steve Spent loved it from the first bowl. That's kind of the way I was too, Steve. I mean, it might have taken me a bowl or two to figure it out. Most blends do, but I don't remember ever not liking it. Well, most Lurker Troy cherry wood is not a very good pipe wood because it does burn at a lower temperature than something like briar. But the Rop cherry woods were made from cherry wood. In fact, I believe the reason they built the Rop factory where they did is there was a very large forest with a lot of cherry trees. So it's not that all. I'm getting my words tied up here. Certainly, there are a lot of cherry wood pipes out there that are made from cherry wood, but it's not necessary that a cherry wood be made from cherry wood. It was just a bad name for a pipe shape. American Spirit Perique is an all-natural, expensive cigarette brand, says Phil. Yeah, if that's the case, you could probably get just blending Perique cheaper. Oh, Doug. The Irishman in me approves of that joke. You know, 68 Sawgun or Pegasus is an interesting blend because of that. It's Pegasus to me is Haunted Bookshop without the Perique, and it has Black Cavendish in it instead. And it really does sensitize you in a way to tasting the difference between that and Haunted Bookshop. So yeah, I mean I smoke a fair amount of Pegasus, and it's always interesting to go back and forth between them. It just highlights the different tastes in them. They do use olive wood and olive wood pipes. Yes, all olive wood pipes are made from olive wood, to my knowledge. Yes, folks, and I do have to have a drink since Creator of the Boundless Universe. That because I'm getting too tongue-tied. And actually, we're at time, so I gotta get this on the road here. Cherrywood is toxic to cattle? That's interesting. And I like a fellow geek, Robert. Riverboat Gambler. Okay, Steve, I'll have to put that on the list. So I am not going to be here next week. The wife has asked me to go off on an adventure with her in Bethlehem next week, and maybe I'll tell you more about that. But so you'll have to find some way to find this quality of entertainment in your life next Friday, which shouldn't be very hard, guys. But I hope you'll come back the following Friday, March 1st. I will be back then. And I also probably won't be doing a Sunday video next week, but I'll be doing one this Sunday. And I hopefully will remember to tell you that. So thank you for the reminder, Michael. I should have said that earlier. But yes. All right, John Amadon has to go to work tomorrow. He's getting off, and I need to move on as well, my friends, because I gotta get some sleep tonight. Hopefully we'll be feeling better tomorrow. So with that, I am going to finish this up and wish you all a great weekend. Thank you all for joining me tonight. I greatly enjoyed it as always. It was a great time. No, not Bethlehem, Israel. Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Not going that far. So, folks, thank you again for joining me. Have a great weekend, and hopefully I'll see you Sunday when I put out a video on something, including Three Nuns. And have a fantastic week and following week. And we'll be back in 2 weeks' time. I'll look forward to seeing you all then. Take care, friends.